Thank you very much. And first of all, thank you to the Whitehorse Business Group for the opportunity. I really appreciate this. Before we start, I'd like to do a bit of a welcome to country, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to the elders past and present. And I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people here today. Okay, let's get into it. The art of social selling. Before we get going with any conversation on social selling, what it all encompasses, I think it's important to really understand where we are in this big landscape called social media. And this is some recent research done by the data reportal people, and the link is there at the bottom. And you'll see that social media use is really expanding around the world very dramatically. And in our region, we've got 56% of the population that are actually using social media. Further to that, I think it's important to understand the demographics of those users and what type of people are using it for brand research. And we see there, yes, the young people, which we always think social media is for the young, they've got a high percentage there. But we also see that we're starting to see the 35, the 45, and the 55-year-olds now also engaging on social media, especially for brand research. Now, we're here today to talk about social media and more specifically around how we use LinkedIn as a platform to expose our brand. And what is important about exposing your brand is you need to be found. And the way you get found, majority of times, you can see there's quite a few of them here, the ads on social media, but search engines, and we'll talk a bit about SEO optimization of your LinkedIn profile, and also recommendations. So you want to be talked about, you want to be seen, and also you want to be talked about in relation to your brand and your offering on social media. So who am I? I'm Conso Titus. I'm traditionally a learning and development professional, strategic advisor in that space, but also a facilitator and trainer. Got my Cert 4 in training and assessment, but also a number of other achievements in respect to LinkedIn. Recent graduate of the Social Media School of Training, and got my graduation there in relation to social media. But we're here for what is social selling. Okay, LinkedIn defines this as leveraging your social network, finding the right prospects, building trust and relationships, and ultimately achieving your sales goals. And we are today talking about LinkedIn as a platform. Now, there is other platforms out there for the kind of conversations that I have, where it's more about the B2B and to some extent B2C, which is the business to business or the business to consumer. LinkedIn is the platform that is starting to become a lot more popular in that respect. What does social selling give you? Well, it's a sales technique that enables you to get better sales, stronger lead generation, and also eliminates the need for cold calling. That one there, we can discuss till the cows come home, I suppose, because cold calling is still a traditional part of any selling activity. In my respect, that's the LinkedIn definition, but from my perspective, it doesn't eliminate cold calling, but it makes cold calling a lot easier. So, when we look at LinkedIn in Australia, what do we see in further research? We see there's 11 million people on LinkedIn in Australia. Now, that's a lot of people. And what you've got to keep in mind too is that with LinkedIn, and very much it applies to a lot of social media platforms, there is a 90, 9, and 1 rule. And that applies to a lot of social media platforms. 90% of users of social media do nothing. They just lurk and read, scroll, use the finger up and down and read. 9% of users of social media like, share, comments on posts. Only 1% of people on social media actually create content and share content. What a great opportunity we have before us to get our brand out there. And in that respect, let's meet the bottom buyer. The bottom buyer, well, he or she are 60% at 61% have done their research. They're educated. We have an educated buyer out there in the market. They know what they want. They value content. They value quality content. And to some extent, they're even willing to pay 30% more as long as the buying experience and relationship is one which is very effective and also a very enjoyable one. And more importantly, an educational and knowledgeable one. So what do we say about LinkedIn in relation to where it is at the moment as a platform? Chief Marketer recently did a survey of a number of people in positions of marketing, leaders, decision makers, and found that 74% found LinkedIn as the most effective social channel for their brand. Further to that, HubSpot, the world's leading CRM, or they purport to be, but anyway, there's probably others out there that are as good as them. They surveyed over 5,000 B2B and B2C businesses and found that LinkedIn was the best social network for lead generation. 277% more effective at generating leads than Facebook and Twitter. And the last one here, again, just depicting how LinkedIn is really taking over the platforms in relation to as a business, advocating, promoting your brand, but more importantly, where people go to make decisions. So why I shared all that research information is just to give you a bit of a context as to what we're dealing with here and why we all that are in business should be looking to get onto this platform and advocate our brand to be found, to be discovered, to create some engagement, to have some conversations, and then to lead to potentially sales conversions. So when it comes to social selling, and it's something about me, I suppose, and people that know me like Miles and others, I try to keep things simple. So I've distilled it down to what I call the 3 E's of social selling. And I always keep it to 3 because there's research that shows that the human brain always remembers in 3s, and it's a very effective research. So what have I distilled it down to? Embrace, engage, and educate. 3 simple things you can remember and keep as part of your journey on LinkedIn. Embrace is all about your profile, and your profile is your main real estate on LinkedIn, and it's free real estate that LinkedIn offers you, and you need to take advantage of it and make the most of it. So there's someone you know, and there's my profile. So let's look a bit about your profile. So you see that in the top part there, I'll just get my laser up. What I've done there is I've used my banner to advocate something that I'm doing, and it's this particular session that I'm running. Now, traditionally, people use this particular part of the real estate on LinkedIn to put a company logo or a brand, and that's okay. Some people have a picture of scenery of Melbourne or maybe the winery they went to. For me, I think you're wasting the space if you're not using it to your advantage. And you can update this as many times as you like. You've got a new product coming out, use the banner. You've got a new course coming out, use the banner. You've got a new methodology you want to talk about, use the banner. That's where you need to start using the real estate. Next, your profile picture. Make sure your profile picture is clear, precise. It's not of you at the last wedding you went to, not of you at the last barbecue you had with your next door neighbours. It's a picture that you want to display as a brand. Me, my brand is a professional individual. So I like to be in a suit and tie and also a bit of a smile, making it affable and approachable. The next part is your headline. Now this is the part that is what they call SEO, which is optimization. So that's where things like Google trawl and look at the words used there, and they will metadata will index you on the system based on the words that are in your profile. You see there the way I've written it, and this is my guide to you too, is to write it in a way that you are helping people. The most important thing to remember about your headline, it's not about you. It's how you help. It's how you will help. It's how you've helped others do X, Y, whatever the case may be. There is some room there to put some other aspects in there, like I've recently become a board member of the Pines Learning, so I decided to put that on my profile. Your About section. Your About section is where you get an opportunity to talk about your career, your history, your achievements. It's about telling your personal brand story. And again, this enables you to gain a high traction on LinkedIn. This one there is conjecture, discussion that people write this in the third person. My research and my looking at other people, and I do a lot of research in this space and look what other people are doing, I have decided, and others have agreed with me, that you write it in the first person. It's all about I do this, I do that, I have done this, I have done that. That's the approach I've taken. You might see some profiles out there that are sort of vary a bit, but it's about you, and it's got to be about you, and keep it in that sort of first person. The other part of the profile is the feature section, one that is very rarely used, and one, again, that is some real estate that LinkedIn is offering you that you can take advantage of. Like I said, recently graduated from the Social Media Manager School. Let people know, put it up there. My recent admission as a fellow in the Asia Pacific Institute of Learning Performance, put it up there. The other one you can see in the corner here is a course I recently did on LinkedIn on mentoring matters, put it up there. It's about featuring a piece of content and something you're proud of and you'd like to have on your profile. Again, with these various buttons up here, which we won't go into detail today because I haven't got time, you can add and you can adjust these how they appear. You can make that one appear first, you can make that one appear second, and you can turn them around and just change them up. Again, another piece of the profile that people don't pay much attention to. But for me, the most important part that I think can help a lot of people is the recommendations. And you look at a lot of profiles, and they might have one, and it's probably about 6-7 years ago, where they worked with Mary in a call center or something like that. For me, recommendations are the most important part. As you would notice, when we're doing our profile there, that is most of the time you talking about yourself, whether it be your headline, your picture, your banner, your about. This part is other people talking about you. And this is the part that gives social proof to your profile. Ask for recommendations. Of course, ask from people that you know will give you one. But then again, when you ask for it, you get to review it. So nothing detrimental or something that you don't like to go on your profile won't go on there unless you approve it. So you are in control of it. Ask people. Say, George, Mary, we work together on this project. Can you please do a bit of recommendation on my profile? And I'll do the same for you. It's about reciprocating. There's nothing wrong with that. But recommendations give you that social proof. Okay, 2 bonus tips today. Something I've come across recently and I'd like to share with you. First one is, there is a little button there with a little microphone. That is geared towards being able to showcase to people how to pronounce your name. So you can go into your profile via the edit button, and there's a pronunciation little button there and it says, please pronounce your name. My view and the view of others is, why waste some real estate that LinkedIn's giving you just for your name? You get 10 seconds. So if you click on mine, eventually when you get to it, you'll see it is my name, but I just use the other 8 odd seconds to talk about what I do. LinkedIn trainer and learning development professional. That's it. People get to hear your voice, and people then start putting a voice to the name. You start getting that engagement. The other one is this little emoji I've put on recently. A lot of people out there using automation tools to send invite requests, and we've all probably got them. I'll probably get about 5 or 6 a day, and it's getting really ridiculous at the moment with COVID because anyone sees your profile and they send you out a request. A lot of these requests are done by bots or by other agencies. And what they do is they have automation tools where they just pick up your name and do a standard invitation request. And the way you know them is they say, I notice we have people that are common to our connection, to our network. I'd love to connect with you too. That's a very common automation of LinkedIn invites. But when you see them come through and they've got, if you put a widget at the beginning of your name and it comes through as an invitation with that widget in there, you know you're being automated. Now, I know about others, but I don't like being automated. I like a personal invite. When someone sends me a request to connect, I want to personalize. I want to know what they liked about my profile, where they met me, what they found interesting, and how they believe our connection will be mutually beneficial. So if you put that in there, you'll see when the invites come through, that little emoji appears, or the widget then you'll know that you're being automated. I love that, being automated. Anyway, so we've done the E. Let's do the other E, the embrace. So let's do the engage. Engaging is all about connecting, sharing, commenting, and liking. Now, when you're looking to connect with someone, people say to me, Con, how do I find who to connect with? Well, the most important thing to do is sit down with a piece of paper and develop a persona. Develop a model of your ideal client or the person you'd like to engage with. Their title, maybe their location, maybe a company they're working for. Maybe you want to target a particular company, or maybe the industry. Then once you've done that, go into LinkedIn and use the search tools that are offered for you and populate those attributes of the persona in here. And then you start targeting the people you want. And then you start fine-tuning these little attributes or this criteria, and you start getting down to a list which is at least achievable. So if you start with a list of 1,000 search results, you might want to just tweak it a bit and find people in Victoria, or you might want to find people that are in a particular specific industry or specific title. So that's how you refine your searching. And that's how you start finding people to engage with. The other way is to, of course, look at people you know, people you already know that may be on LinkedIn and say, hey, I'm on LinkedIn now, love to connect. They know you, you know them, make it a personal invite and start engaging with people that way. But most importantly, start looking at some influencers in your industry. Start looking at some industry groups and start connecting with them. And more specifically, start targeting those particular individuals that are part of your persona. So the first thing you need to do is develop a persona of the ideal client, and then you start playing around with LinkedIn to target those people. But the most important thing here to understand is, let's try to get to the next slide, sorry, oops. Sorry, I'm having a problem with my, here we go. My apologies there. So the thing is to make a conversation, start a conversation, find a common theme. Hey, I met you at such and such an event. You met me today at the Whitehorse Business Group event. Send me a personalised invite. Say, hey, Con, saw your session at the Whitehorse Business Group. Love to connect and continue the engagement. Love what you said, or didn't like what you said for that matter, but love to be connected. Make it personal, not automated. The most important thing is put yourself in their shoes. If you were to receive an invitation request, the way you've written it, would you read it? Would you open it? Would you connect? Of course, the ultimate aim with all this is to move the conversation offline. And what we mean by that is a face-to-face, like a Zoom meeting nowadays. Of course, with COVID, it's very hard to have those coffee meetings, but hopefully post-COVID, we can then take the conversation offline, have the coffee meeting, and continue that engagement and potentially lead to some sort of opportunity for both parties. So here's one that I've used in the past, and it works, and it's reasonably effective. Because what I say reasonably is because you've got to always try different ways and different approaches with different people. Hi, Frank. I noticed a comment you made on a recent post that you were looking at recommendations for a new learning platform. I'm in the learning management system business. I work for an organisation as a contractor in trying to advocate the platforms. So I tell them what I do. But most importantly, I'm not selling, just telling them who I am, what I do. We recently completed our recent white paper on how to successfully secure the right LMS for your organisation. Because I know Frank made a comment about searching for a platform. I'd love to send you a copy. Always ask permission. That's the most important thing. Always ask permission to send something to someone. Frank responded, said, yep, send me the paper, Con, and we're still in conversations. So, not a hard sell, an engaging request, talking about a connection, a theme. He made a comment that he was looking for something, and he was talking on LinkedIn about any opportunities that existed with platforms. I responded, told him who I am, told him who I work for, but also, more importantly, provided him with a document, a value-add document that he or she, or he in this case, could read and start working through as a process to engage an LMS provider. a learning management system provider. Sorry, I sometimes use acronyms, so it's a learning management system. And here's a case study that actually got me a result. One of my biggest clients, major, financial services organisation. I won't say much more than that. I had previously engaged with Graham at a conference. It was a while since we met. Hi, Graham. It's been a long time since we spoke. Hope you're well. I saw a post of his on LinkedIn. Great to see you've acquired LinkedIn Learning. I use it every day. It's a great learning tool. It'd be great to catch up soon. By the way, well done on the award. Give a bit of credit. Make him feel good about the connection. Graham responded, hi, Con. Yes, long time no speak. By the way, let me know when you're in Docklands. I've got a new person on board looking at a new LMS. We'd love to revisit Tocha with you. No problem, Graham. And from there, we ended up getting the contract. It was a sizable contract for us, all from engaging via LinkedIn. People are watching. Graham and I had engaged at a conference, but Graham was also watching me on LinkedIn and what I was doing and what I was sharing. So what you've got to look for is you've got to look for what they call social listening triggers. And this is so you can start engaging with people and start connecting. When someone gets a job change and you see them have a job change, congratulations. Well done. Love to hear more about what the new job entails. If someone's viewed your profile, could be something you posted, but it's someone you're not connected with and someone's viewed your profile as a result of a post. Hey, notice you've viewed my profile. Love to hear more about what you do and understand, why you like my profile or what was about my profile you liked and enjoyed. Happy to connect. If someone's tagged you in a conversation, that's another point where as part of a post with someone else, I usually tag other people and then those other people get seen and they connect with me. And most importantly, see who's commenting on your posts and articles. And I've got a bit of a tip sheet at the end, which you can get access to. And I've sort of listed those sort of things, a sort of process for you to follow in relation to how to engage and the kind of things you should be looking at on a daily basis and a weekly basis. It's a bit of a guide for you to look at, to have by your desk. All right, so now on to educate. Now, education is where you start really, the rubber starts hitting the ground, where you start adding value to your network. Now, within LinkedIn, we can do it a number of ways. We've got what they categorize into three particular categories: articles, posts, and documents. Now, an article is traditionally what most of us would probably know as a blog. And you can use the blogging platform that LinkedIn provides. It used to be called Pulse, but now they just call it articles. And you can write a bit of a blog. Now, a blog or an article gives you an opportunity to say a lot more than you can in a post. So people use it to talk about something they've encountered, a story, a challenge, recent success, a new methodology they're advocating, maybe promoting a new webinar they're going to do, but talking a bit about the background and what people will get out of the webinar and so forth. Very effective. Again, get a lot of traction on LinkedIn. A post is your traditional post where you just, text, talk about something, use a few hashtags. At the moment, I collate on a daily basis a list of L&D jobs around Australia. So people that are looking for a new person to do an L&D function in their business, organisation, contract, permanent, or whatever the case may be, they will use the tag L&D jobs AUS. Or I also go into LinkedIn and look on a daily basis what are the new jobs advertised. It's not an exhaustive list, but it's a curated list, and I look at the jobs that I think my network and people around my network might enjoy to see. It's getting a lot of traction, and what is it doing? It's doing, for me, it's creating brand awareness. I'm getting so many people saying, hey, you got to follow Con. You got to follow Con. He does a great list every night. Now, I only do it Monday to Friday. I have a rest on the weekend, but it's getting me the traction that I need. And more importantly, it's creating brand awareness for myself. It's part of me giving back to the community, and I really wanted to help a lot of people with COVID, and that was my ultimate aim. But on the other hand, as a side effect, it's actually creating some brand awareness of who I am and what I do, because the first thing people see is I design effective solutions that deliver results. And they go, oh, maybe let me see more about this person. So I'm getting a lot of views on my profile. And the last one is there, in relation to educate, is to be able to share a document. what I usually do when I go to webinars like this is I usually doodle. I like to draw, and I draw the main concepts and the gems I hear, and I use a sort of I call it a mud map because it's not a mind map. Poor Tony Bazan, if you saw this, he'll probably turn in his grave. They're not a mind map, and far from it. Never said they're mind map. They're a mud map, and it's just me mapping out the gems, the concepts that I heard at a webinar, and I share them with my network with the appropriate hashtags and tagging the person that I was at the webinar with and other people in my network that might find it valuable. Again, they got a lot of traction. But people are saying, wow, I've never seen this before. It's raw and it's also informative. So that's why people enjoyed it. But people say to me, Con, that's great for you. You can create your own. Where do I find content? I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. All right. So we've got opportunities. The other way you can do with content is you can create it or you can curate it. And curation is a valid form of sharing content out there as long as you're attributing it and also making sure you refer to it. So I've got some links there, and Laura, you can put those in the chat, to be great. The kind of links that these are just a handful, there's probably more there, but I'm into the social selling quite a bit. So there's a couple there in relation to selling that I follow and some that I recommend. Social sales link is an overseas one, really good. Mark McInnes is a really good social selling person here in Australia, and Daniel Disney is one of the best I've seen in the business. He actually has a hashtag social selling. Not that he owns it, but he uses it quite a bit. So you get your content from newsletters and just read them and share the content and attribute it and so forth. It's a great way of sharing some content. And when you're curating and sharing content, make sure you put a bit of a comment about that content, how it's relevant to you, how it made you think differently, or how it supported you in what you're doing. And the other one is curation sites. And they're three of the best that I've seen in my time in the business. Right Relevance is really good. Content Gems is a new one I've seen, which is also very good. And BuzzZoomer is the best in the world. BuzzZoomer is one of the biggest and best curation sites in the world. And what I do there is I go in one of those sites and they all have a little search box, dialogue box, and I type in there a bit of a concept. I might type in social selling. I might type in learning management systems, and I'll get a list of a list of sites that are talking about that particular topic. I look at them, I review them, I read them, and then if it's relevant, I share them with a bit of perspective from myself. And there you are. I've got content out there, and people have seen me adding value to my community and my network. Another way of doing things is by doing video. Video is becoming more and more popular on LinkedIn, and I did this at the early part of COVID. I used to go out for a walk, as you can see there, take my phone, just talk to the phone and just talk about a concept. And this one here, I'm talking about the criteria I use in evaluating and determining a learning provider. Who I'm going to, when you're looking for learning in the industry, what is the criteria you're looking for in order to decide if this learning partner is going to be suitable to your needs? And I use a hashtag there, Cons Walk and Talk. And if you go on LinkedIn and do the search that hashtag, you'll see it's mine, because not many other people do. But the name Con do walks and talks on LinkedIn. But anyway, probably are. But what I'm saying there too is use a unique hashtag that allows you to be identified, but also it allows you to be searchable and discovered later on. Good point to remember. So Cons Walk and Talk. I have another one called Cons Curated Content, which I do probably once a week or maybe once every 8 days, which is a bit of content I find that I like and I send out and goes out to my network via newsletter, but also gets published on LinkedIn and Twitter. The other one is a very good one, and Daniel does it well, and others have done it very well. Polls. Polls are really good to create a bit of a debate and create a bit of controversy. And controversy is good sometimes as long as it's appropriate. But the good thing about polls is when you create a poll, you get to see how everyone's voted. And then when you see how everyone's voted, and you find someone has voted in a way that you probably thought differently, you can use that as an opportunity to connect. Hey, I noticed you voted no. Just to let you know that we work in this space and we help people along this journey. I'd love to connect and learn more about your business. Again, good opportunity to generate some engagement, but also create potential leads going forward. And also good to engage with comments. And you can see there, is cold calling dead? Yes, no. This is from the social seller, a person who's probably got an interest in people doing more online puts out a poll about his cold calling dead. Have a think about that. Another one we've seen more recently, just come to Australia recently, is LinkedIn Stories. And for those who are on other platforms like Insta, will know that stories are a big part of it. We don't see it as being used as much here in Australia, maybe because LinkedIn is seen as a professional network and people don't really do a lot of video. In fact, there's not much video on LinkedIn, even though we think there is, there's not much video on LinkedIn compared to other sites. But again, a good opportunity to do a short mini video, a clip, talk about yourself, what you're doing today, a client you're going to meet, what's on your agenda for today. There are people that do it on a regular basis. I've done it once or twice. I probably should be doing it more. At the moment, I'm just taking it easy to just see how I want to approach that and what kind of brand consistency I want to get on LinkedIn Stories. So when we come to educate, I'll leave you with 2 words: adding value. The biggest key for creating LinkedIn is to continue to add value. And LinkedIn itself recommends the rule of 4-1-1. So let's say you're looking at a pool of 6 posts. 4 of them should be completely unrelated posts, not selling, just talking about some value, something you've seen, something you've come across, some content you've read, a book you've read, a podcast you've listened to. 1 should be a soft sell and 1 should be a hard sell. If you go too hard on the hard sell, people will disengage. People will avoid you. People will just not connect with you. And the 80-20 rule, which we know applies in a lot of professions, also applies to LinkedIn. 80% should be value add, 20% should be promotional. Keep that in mind as you continue your journey on LinkedIn and what content you're posting. And people say, well, Con, how do I create some viral content? How do I create something that's going to go viral? Well, people love stories. And talking about a story and a challenge you've encountered and how you overcome it is always going to get some attraction. I had a colleague of mine that I was mentoring, and she wanted to get on LinkedIn. I said, so why don't you write your story? She had been a recent immigrant, came to Australia, found a job, and was just really grateful about the opportunities given to her. I said to her, well, write about your story. She wrote about her story. She got so much traction, she just couldn't believe it. Now she's converted on LinkedIn. Look at industry trends, hotspots, something I do and I talk about a lot. Look for trending topics. Use the hashtagging. Hashtag is a way where you can start searching for particular topics that are popular. You go on LinkedIn, go to the search box, put a hashtag, type in something you're interested in, maybe something like cars, or it could be something like brand advocacy, or it could be coaching. Look at that hashtag and see what other hashtags people are using in their posts and start using similar hashtags to be seen. Offer value and ask for thoughts. And what I'm doing a lot more now is putting content there and saying, love to hear your thoughts on this. How are you approaching this? What have you encountered? Put a question at the end, put a call for action. A call for action doesn't always have to be come to my session or come to my course. Love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what's on your mind in relation to this topic. It's about creating engagement. So the branding tips I'll leave you with is let people see you, not just a salesperson. Let them see who you are. It's okay to put in a personal reflection. There's nothing wrong with that. Write as you. It doesn't have to always be polished. Support others. Like, comment, engage. Write consistent content. And the most important thing of all, be consistent on LinkedIn. Don't just post once and then leave it for 2, 3, 4 weeks. The algorithm is just going to disown you. Be consistent. Be regular. For example, for me, I spend a half an hour in the morning checking up. I might spend about 15 minutes during lunch. I have my lunch and just go into LinkedIn and see what's coming through. And then I do probably an hour in the evening with some of my content and connections. It doesn't have to be a lot of work. Develop a process that suits you, but be consistent, be regular. The more consistent you are on LinkedIn in sharing some content, liking, commenting, the more the algorithm will start liking you and show you to others in their feed. Okay, so what are the 4 key tips? We're coming to an end. Sorry, Laura, I won't be another 2 or 3 minutes. What are the key tips with social selling? Well, 4 simple things to remember. Establish a professional brand. We talked about your profile, your picture, your headline. Look at those things. Make a professional targeting to who you want to target. It's not about you, it's about them. Find the right people. Connect with the people you want to target. Create a persona. Start targeting those people based on your persona. Engage with insight. Comment, like, share. Create some content. Curate some content. And, of course, build relationships. Strengthen your network by connecting and establishing trust with decision makers. Now, LinkedIn has got its own little analytics engine that is available for you to see your social selling score. It's not, look, use it with caution. It's not 100% correct, but it gives you a bit of a guide. And it's based on 4 key elements, and they're the ones I just mentioned before. Everyone's got access to this. It used to be a premium feature. All you got to do is take that link, type it into your URL. If you're already logged on LinkedIn, it'll come up. If you're not logged in, I'll ask you to log into LinkedIn, and you'll get your social selling index. The one within that I'm really happy about is where I rank in my network. I've network being the people you're connected with. So I connect with a variety of people, a lot of influencers, but also a lot of other people who are in business. So being top 2% for me shows that I'm connecting with the right people, but also that I've got the right sort of approach to that connection. And industry rankings depends what industry you classify yourself in. I'm in that coaching education industry, so that's the ranking that I've got in there. When I've been very, very heavily engaged and put a lot of work, I have reached 95. That took a lot of effort and work, but because you can see there, the engagement with insights, I do a lot of work in engagement with insights, but recently due to COVID and other things, I've taken a bit of a quieter downtime, so the index has gone down a bit. But that's okay. Things will get better. I'll get up there again. Again, I'm not using it as any benchmark, but it just gives me an opportunity to understand where I need to improve. Now, finishing up, lastly, just quickly, I have got a bit of an offer there. It's just a little quick tip sheet. It's only a couple of pages, talking about some of the stuff we talked about today. It's got a bit of a checklist, what you can do on a daily basis and a weekly basis, and then just goes through your profile and sort of picks components of your profile and talks about what you could add in that profile. So there's the link there. Put it there. Just all I asked was your name and email address, and we go from there. So where do you find me? Well, here's the challenge for you today as I finish. There's my LinkedIn profile. Send me a personalized invitation request, and I will give you feedback on that personalized invitation request. Don't make it automated, make it personal. And on that note, I want to thank you very much. Hope you got something out of it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Con. That was very good. I have put the latest link that Con was talking about on the chat box as well. So I put all the links for the curation sites and the newsletters as well for you to get advantage of. Let me open the chat for some questions. Okay, I have a question from Tracy. She's talking about the recording of your name. So she says, I will not do this because sometimes a recording of you saying your name is used as a security for certain government and other organizations. What are your thoughts about this, Con?
I agree. That's why I just don't say my name. I say more than my name, and I add more additional commentary in there. Again, it's a feature LinkedIn has provided, I suppose, for a lot more for those people, individuals who might have a complicated name and suppose that is pronounced differently. And we're talking about this with Laura this morning about how my name is pronounced. So it depends how you pronounce your name. But look, it's a great point. I've not come across that, but it's a valid point. And I would say if that's how you feel, I would tread with caution. I agree.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. The next one is coming from Amy. Would you recommend to have a personal and business LinkedIn pages, like 2 different or 1 combined? What do you recommend, Con?
Okay. LinkedIn works very well on a personal basis. Now, there is a company page you can create, and that's also free. And I've got a company page, but you don't get as much traction and you don't get as much love from the algorithms as a personal. LinkedIn works on a personal-to-personal relationship. People buy from people. They do give you the company page, and yes, I would recommend having a company page. If you can manage both, it takes a bit of effort. It's not that much harder, but it's very valid and very, very plausible to have a company page. And I have one, and a lot of people do have one. But you notice when you go to some people's company page, it's not as if you're a sole trader and freelance, I'm talking about. If you're a big company, that's different. Okay, if you're BHP or ANZ, yes, they'll have the resources to put into their company page, and they use that in relation to communicating with their clients. I'm again talking as a freelancer, sole trader, maybe someone who's got a small business. A company page, I don't think will give you as much as just your individual profile or the profile of your people in your business.
Fantastic.
That's my view.
Yep, thank you. And do you think that it's worthwhile just to have in, because the business group has 2 pages?
Yeah.
One, which is the business group page that we don't have a lot of things. And then the other one that it's as a person, because we created it incorrectly. So now we didn't want to lose all the contacts on the one that we created incorrectly.
Definitely worth it, Laura. Definitely worth it. I'm not saying you don't do it. I'm just saying it's going to take a bit of effort to try to manage a couple of things at a time. With my page, what I do is when I post content as con, I go to my company page and say, our chief learning broker has just published a new article. Have a look at it. So, and then with that one, I added a few additional hashtags. Now, I didn't talk about hashtags a lot, but don't put more than 3 hashtags in your post. After 3 hashtags, LinkedIn just ignores the other hashtags.
Oh, okay.
Hashtags is the optimum number of hashtags in any post. I see some people, they think it's Instagram or whatever, and they put about 10, 15. Tell you now, I've done research on this and I've talked to other people. 3 is the optimal.
Please. Okay, perfect. I have another question from Amy. She was asking if all your examples come from your professional page, the ones that you've been showing us.
Yeah, my personal page, everything that I showed, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I have a question. Yeah, sorry. I have a question. So when you were saying about if you have certificates, put that there. So I think where is the line between putting your achievements for everyone to see and bragging about your achievements? So what's I think it's a fine line there.
Look, it depends on individual. The way I said, if you can't shout from the rooftops about yourself, then don't wait for others to do it for you. It's not about bragging, it's about advocating and showcasing what you've achieved. People do masters. Masters takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Why not tell people you've done an MBA? People do X, Y, and Z. People have climbed Everest. Why not tell people you've done that?
Okay.
An achievement of any sort can add to your profile and your branding.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I don't take it as bragging. I take it as being showcasing something I'm proud of.
Okay, perfect. Do we have any other question for Con? Anyone?
Parissa's got a question now. How do you deal with this if you're face-to-face business in 2 different markets? Okay. Sorry, Parissa, you want to go online? I don't. How do I deal with what? Sorry. What you got?
Yeah. I can go online if you like my
hair. Sorry about that. Just want to hear the question better, yeah?
Now I dropped off the kids, so it's not too busy right now. Well, I run 2 businesses and they're both B2B. And one of my businesses is bookkeeping and the other one is painting. And that one is also pivoting to B2B. I'm trying to figure out how to be the face of both businesses when they're both my businesses, basically.
Okay. So you want to have 2 different profiles on LinkedIn?
No, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't think we're allowed to do that.
No, you're not.
But
so
how do
you can create...
Would it matter if I've got like 2 separate distinct content going out, basically? One that's more for bookkeeping audiences and one for more real estate agents and office managers who do painting type thing. Because I am the face of both.
I do the same. I'm in the same dilemma. I do learning and development, as you probably see, and also do LinkedIn training. So I've got one part of the market which I talk a lot about learning and development, so training, where's learning going, facilitating the state of virtual events, face-to-face events. On the other side, I'll do a lot of training on social selling and using LinkedIn, leveraging LinkedIn. So what you've got to be careful in the market is try and not confuse the market. But if you're consistent in what people see you and your profile is very clear, so in your profile, you need to put there in your profile, be a tickle and say, talk about your bookkeeping and also talk about your painting. So people can distinctly see that Parissa is involved in 2 distinct businesses, but she's very much heavily committed to both of them.
Yeah.
So, and then when you're pushing out content, push out some regular content on one and push out regular content on the other. People start seeing the difference using different hashtags for each one. You'll be targeting different markets.
Okay, I'll
Right?
try that.
So be
Because
clear
mainly
about who you are.
I don't want to hide the painting side of the business, mainly because like I am a bookkeeper, but I'm niching in building and construction. So
Yeah.
the fact that I am running a building and construction business is something that I would like to highlight in my bookkeeping business.
Why
But
not?
that doesn't necessarily mean that when I'm talking to my painting businesses, I want to highlight that I'm also a bookkeeper. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but you could do that in conversations offline. So the aim is to get them excited and engaged. Once they're excited and engaged, you take that offline and then you can start articulating your offering more specifically. The aim with LinkedIn is to get them engaged, get them connecting with you, and for you then to connect and say, hey, let's have a conversation. I'll give you a call tomorrow. What's your number? Yeah. So once you get them engaged and interested, then you have that more articulate conversation about your offering. But at the moment, keep them separate in relation to what you're posting, the content, and just be clear that you're involved in two businesses. There's nothing wrong with that, like I am at the moment.
fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Con. And it's nearly 9:30, so we really got into this LinkedIn session. So thank you very much to everyone, especially to Con for a fantastic presentation.
Thank you.
And don't forget that the business group has every Friday morning webinars at 8:30, and next Tuesday morning we have some mindfulness at 8:30. So if you want to join us to start the day relaxed and focused, please 8:30. So if you jump on our website, you'll have all the details there. So I believe that it will be at least a nice Friday just to get out and enjoy the 2 hours that we have of freedom outside the house. So try to do some exercise, try to not think a lot about what's going to happen on Sunday with their new announcement. Enjoy your Friday, and hopefully I'll see you next week.
Thanks everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Con.
Thanks, guys.